For decades, Disney and DreamWorks have been throwing villains at audiences like two rivals trying to outdo each other. And today, we're putting some of them in the ring to see who actually comes out on top. First up, we have Syndrome going head-to-head with Megamind and Buddy. This matchup is basically a battle of two brilliant nerds who took rejection way too personally.
All my inventions so that everyone can be superheroes. Everyone can be super.
You're a villain, all right. Just not a super one.
Yeah?
Okay, so both of these guys are tech geniuses who could probably fix half the problems on the internet if they actually really wanted to. Instead, they looked at their giant brains and decided the best use for them was building world-ending machines. Basically the same career decision every villain makes right before the hero pulls a Jurassic Park level. This was a terrible idea.
And that, okay, you might think is good in your bad perception, but from a good perception.
And that decision alone tells you a lot about their personalities. Now, let's talk about Syndrome for a second. This dude started as a kid who just wanted to be a hero.
To hell! And what did you say to me?
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
Leave me alone!
Most people would take the hint and move on with their life. But not this guy. He turned revenge into a full-time career, like John Wick, just with way worse life choices.
Sorry.
See? Now you respect me, because I'm a threat. That's the way it works.
And the wild part is that he built technology powerful enough to actually make it happen. His greatest invention was the Omni Droid. Which is basically a more human version of the Death Star, built with the same energy as someone who watched Star Wars and thought, yeah, I could make that worse. Buddy, that thing could level a city if nobody stopped it. Meanwhile, Megamind, the blue-headed genius, also grew up feeling like an outsider. He spent most of his childhood being compared to his rival Metro Man.
Good receives all the praise and adulation, while evil is sent to quiet time in
He understood at a young age that
the bad boy. Then I was going to be the baddest boy of them all.
every evil plan felt like a full theatrical performance, like he rehearsed it in the mirror first. Basically villain energy straight out of The Dark Knight.
You were right.
I'll always be a villain.
Now, when it comes to inventions, both of these villains have tech that would make most scientists jealous. One of his most famous inventions lets him extract powers from Metro Man. And here's where things get funny. Instead of giving those powers to himself, he hands them to the shy cameraman.
Let go, it's mine!
Bernard, run!
Roxanne! You're going to break it! Oh, no! Roxanne! Ow!
Buddy, that's basically like finding the ring in Lord of the Rings and saying, nah, you hold this.
Who is this man we've infused with godlike power?
Ow! 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 Ow!
And of course, the plan backfires. The new hero turns out to be a huge problem. Then Megamind suddenly realizes playing villain has some real consequences. And instead of doubling down, he pulls a full Spider-Man 2 moment and decides, yeah, maybe I should save the city. Syndrome, on the other hand, never lets go of his grudge. The guy sticks to revenge all the way to the end. And his story ends with him trying to kidnap Mr. Incredible's baby.
Everything you weren't. And in time, who knows? He might make a good
Dude really thought stealing a superhero baby would somehow make him look cool. That plan goes about as well as you would expect. Megamind survives his story because he grows as a character. Syndrome crashes and burns because he refuses to move on. So when it comes to this first round, Megamind easily takes the win. Next up, we have a battle of two villains who look at animals and see nothing but dollar signs. On one side stands Cruella de Vil.
Let her in, Nanny.
Anita, darling. How?
On the other side, we have Mrs. Tweedy.
Militia Tweedy will be poor no longer.
Both of them see animals like dollar bills, but the way they go about it tells two very different stories. Cruella de Vil is basically chaos in a fancy coat, and the second she hears about Dalmatian puppies, she storms into the room like the villain's entrance in The Devil Wears Prada, but with way worse intentions.
For heaven's sakes, where are they?
Who, Cruella? I don't...
The puppies!
The The woman talks about puppies the same way someone talks about winning the lottery, except her grand plan involves turning them into a fur coat.
And a bashful Beethoven. Pipe and all.
Okay, now let's pause for a second here, because the idea alone is already pretty messed up. 15 puppies should make you smile. Cruella starts hearing that number and starts calculating clothing designs. Meanwhile, far away on a chicken farm in England, Mrs. Tweedy decides eggs are not making enough money. So she flips the whole business to chicken pies like she just watched Gordon Ramsay and thought, you know what, let's make this darker. Dude, that decision basically turns her farm into a nightmare factory.
It's a pie machine, you idiot. Chickens go in, pies come out.
Now, while Cruella de Vil is loud and dramatic, Mrs. Tweedy runs things like Walter White, quiet, cold, and terrifyingly efficient. She's in the business for money. Of course, things start to fall apart when the animals fight back. The Dalmatian puppies escape Cruella's plans. The chickens on Mrs. Tweedy's farm organize a full-on prison break. Watching these villains lose control is honestly hilarious. It's like watching The Wolf of Wall Street when everything finally starts crashing down. Cruella panics and speeds through the countryside trying to catch the puppies.
You idiots!
Mrs. Tweedy faces something even worse. Her entire farm literally collapses during the chickens' escape. The machine meant to produce pies explodes. Then her husband drops a giant barn door on her. After years of insulting the guy, that moment feels like the universe delivering a perfectly timed comeback. Both villains fall spectacularly, but Cruella de Vil still steals the spotlight, like Meryl Streep walking into a scene and owning the whole movie. So yeah, the crown goes to Cruella. Now let's move on to the next matchup. We have Gaston facing off against Prince Charming. Okay, buddy, this fight might actually break the ego meter. Both of these guys love themselves more than anything else on this planet.
As you see, I've got biceps to spare.
Not a bit of him scraggly or scrawny.
Handsome. In all the land.
Gaston walks into every room like the laws of gravity revolve around him. Dude basically lives inside his own fan club.
That's like Gaston!
Confidence isn't the problem here. The problem is that his ego reaches dangerous levels. Prince Charming, on the other hand, shows up with a completely different vibe. He looks like someone who walked straight out of a boy band audition. Everything about him feels polished and dramatic.
The witch rescued from the handsome Prince Charming.
Instead of proving his worth through actions, he relies on charm and connections. And by connections, I really mean his fairy godmother doing half the work.
Princess Fiona and Prince Shrek.
Now, here's where things get interesting. Both men believe they deserve the love of a princess. Neither of them stops to think about what the princess actually wants. Gaston decides Belle should marry him because he's the best guy in town.
But I just don't deserve you.
Whoa!
Prince Charming plans to use a love potion so Fiona falls for him automatically.
Drink this and she'll fall in love with the first man she kisses, which will be charming.
Okay, let's be honest here, buddy. Forcing someone to fall in love with you isn't romantic. That's downright creepy. Both villains show how arrogance can completely blind someone to reality. Eventually, their plans collapse. Gaston tries to defeat the beast in a dramatic battle. Prince Charming attempts a giant fairy tale takeover.
I'm ogre.
Kill it!
And neither plan ends well. Gravity shows up to remind them that ego has consequences. Both characters fall from great heights in their stories, but between the two of them, Gaston at least fights his own battles. Prince Charming depends heavily on the granny's magical help. That difference gives Gaston the edge in this round. Now, let's talk about two villains who specialize in deals that sound great at first, but quickly become your worst nightmares. This round features Dr. Facilier.
Don't you disrespect me, little man. Don't you derogate or deride.
Versus Rumpelstiltskin.
Sign the kingdom of far, far away over to me.
Now between these two, Dr. Facilier is the dodgy guy with some shady business partners. Meanwhile, Rumpelstiltskin operates entirely on emotional manipulation.
Just sign it, and all your problems will disappear.
Instead of charming people with music and magic tricks, he attacks their desperation. His deal with Shrek proves how dangerous that power can be.
Tiny little owl.
I'm still my own ogre.
Yeah, you is.
I never needed to ask for anyone's permission before.
Shrek gives up one day of his life. That small trade creates an alternate timeline where everything falls apart.
You never met Fiona. Your kids don't exist.
Fiona's parents disappear. Shrek's family never existed. Rumpelstiltskin becomes king. Dude literally rewrites reality with a pen. Meanwhile, Dr. Facilier lures in his new victim, Prince Naveen, with big promises.
Tarot readings, charms, potions, dreams made real.
Yeah, I would definitely not trust a business card like that. He tricks people into making deals they barely understand. Prince Naveen learns that lesson the hard way. Facilier promises him a green future.
Just want to be free, hop from place to place. But freedom takes green.
Then the deal turns him into a frog. Like the promise, green.
You can blame my friends on the
Buddy, that's not exactly the outcome most people expect from a financial opportunity. Facilier works like a classic con artist. He studies people's weaknesses and offers them exactly what they want to hear. Both villains eventually face consequences for their actions. Facilier gets dragged away by the spirits he trusted. Rumpelstiltskin loses control of the world he created. Still, the scale of his influence is massive. Changing one person's life is impressive. Changing an entire timeline is something else entirely. And for that reason, Rumpelstiltskin takes the victory. Now, we arrive at the final showdown. This one features pure nightmare fuel. On one side stands Maleficent.
You poor simple fools, thinking you could defeat me.
On the other side waits death.
I'm death, straight up. And I've come for you, Puss in Boots.
Both know how to make an entrance. Maleficent steps into the spotlight with enough dramatic flair to make a Broadway stage manager start taking notes.
Finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die.
Oh no!
The woman announces that Princess Aurora will die before her 16th birthday and waits 16 years to see it happen.
Why, you...
That's some serious commitment issue right there. But death works differently. The wolf needs no lightning or speeches. He arrives quietly, a slow whistle echoing through the air. And suddenly, the fearless hero Puss in Boots realizes something terrifying. For the first time in his life, he might actually die. Maleficent relies on magic, armies, and giant dragon transformations. Death relies on presence. Fear follows him. Every step reminds everyone that no one escapes forever. Eventually, Prince Philip defeats Maleficent with a magical sword. Her story ends in flames. Death doesn't lose his fight. Instead, he decides to spare Puss once the arrogant hero learns to value his life.
But I don't see him anymore.
That decision proves something important. Death never needed to win. His goal was to teach a lesson, and once it lands, the fight ends.
Live your life, Puss in Boots. Live it well.
Buddy, that's why Death stands above the rest. You can't defeat the end of every story. Death wins this villain showdown. In the end, these villains show that power, ego, revenge, and fear take many forms, but only one reminds heroes that life is the greatest prize.